Hey guys, it is a very exciting day around here. Hey Lily. Hey. We officially get to plant our garden. I have not been this excited in a very long time. So we are officially cleared of our last frost date around here. I've looked at the 10-day forecast over and over again. Hey, no one gives you attention. Get off of me. I wait all winter for this moment. I plan what I'm gonna put in the garden. I figure out what new infrastructures we're gonna add, high tunnels, where I'm moving things. And I just literally dream about it for months and months. And I always think, is it ever gonna get here? Like, is the day where I can plant my garden ever going to get here? And here I am. We're clear. Like, everything's telling me, plant your garden, Jill. All my friends are planting their gardens. So I think I'm gonna do the dang thing. I think I'm gonna take the plunge. I've never planted my garden this early, ever. Usually our frost date is actually a few weeks. Usually it's the middle of April. Our frost date was the beginning of April this year. But you guys, our Arkansas weather gets me really nervous. I just don't know that I can trust it. I'm going to be putting out squashes and zucchinis, and I've got some cucamelons I'll show you guys that are insane. I've tried to grow cucamelons which is actually the technical name is a Mexican sour gherkin. I've tried to grow these for 3 years with 0 success. This year my starts are ridiculous. They're already running, so I am convinced that I'm going to have this be the year where I can grow cucamelons. So stay tuned for that. We'll see what actually happens. But my lettuces have been out, as you can see behind me. My kale, we've got spinach out, onions, Brussels sprouts, things like that have been in the ground for a while. Today though, I am talking about putting out my squashes and zucchinis. The cucamelons, like I said, are gonna go out. I'm contemplating, I have thousands of tomato starts, so I'm contemplating even putting some of those out, because if the frost does come, I still have more starts to where I'm not really losing anything. Hey Simba. Simba, come here. Simba. Simba. Come here. Come here. My dog's not feeling me today. Oh, but Lily is. She said, I'll get your attention. So that's Simba, my dog, the healer that just passed by. This is Nathan's dog, but she'll take attention from anyone who will give it to her. So the really cool thing about starting your own seeds, there are lots of benefits to starting your own seeds. One of the coolest things for me is that I literally get to go shop my nursery, or shop my greenhouse. So whenever this time comes and I feel like I'm clear to plant my garden, before I take any things to plant starts, before I separate out what tomatoes are going to go in the high tunnel to be grown, I literally figure out what I want for my backyard garden, which is what you guys see here. So we will go do that. Then shortly after that, and I've tried to hone in where I want anything, figure out my garden space, my situations, then I'll start separating out tomatoes to be grown in the high tunnel. And then what's left is what I will sell at plant sales, and I allow people to come to the farm and buy plants. It's something really cool. They get to see where all of it's grown. They get to check out how we do things. So it just seems to be a win-win for everybody. So let me show you my garden area and kind of what I'm thinking, and then we'll go in the greenhouse and pick out some plants. It's kind of a cool morning here, and this coffee is really touching my soul. So we got a bunch of rock, like a dump truck of rock, dumped probably a few weeks ago. I'll show you guys. And we have slowly been filling in our walkways, doing things like that. So here's our huge pile of rock. It's been quite the undertaking. We've been trying to amend beds with soil that we went and got last week, and then fill all of this in with walkways. So this bed we just top dressed last week. You can see some of the rock. We still have to top dress some of those beds, and I actually sowed, so I guess a week ago, our 10-day forecast looked great, and I thought, oh, I think I'm in the clear. So I decided to go ahead and start my beans. Sow them in the ground, take a chance. We have had some cooler days, and I'm kind of nervous because nothing has come up yet, and we've had a good bit of rain. So I'll probably give those another week or so and see what happens. And then if nothing happens, then I'm probably gonna just have to resow them, which is a bummer because some of them were like my last seeds. But what do you do? We got this high tunnel, or this cattle panel put up. I'm going to be trellising tromboncino squash on that this year, which is one of my favorites. And then, I don't know that you can see very well, this one over here is the one that I'm going to be doing the cucumber melons on. So this whole cattle panel, it's 2 cattle panels, is going to be doing the cucumber melons. This whole bed behind me will be just for tomatoes. Last year we were able to fit 23 tomato plants in there. And then last year I had my cherry tomatoes in this one. Well, I mean, we're growing hundreds of tomato plants in the high tunnels, so it seemed a bit absurd to grow a ton of tomato plants like here on our farm. So I'm gonna fill this bed up with squash and zucchini, things that I'm having a hard time getting at the store. We eat a lot of squash and zucchini. We've had a very, very difficult time finding these things, so that's what we're growing. We're growing lots of squash and zucchinis. We always do a lot of tomatoes, lettuce, kale, things like that we can always just pop in the freezer. One thing that I haven't started yet, and I think I'm just gonna direct sow because I had a lot of fun growing it last year and my kids really enjoyed it, and that was melons. So we grew Kajari melons, we grew Minnesota midgets, we grew like 2 other ones, one that was very similar to a cantaloupe and one that was very similar to a honeydew melon. I don't remember the names, but they were fun. The kids loved them. And then I was able to freeze them and just put them in the freezer. So we've slowly been thawing out fruit and eating fruit, and I used quite a bit of it to make kombucha too. So it was just fun. We did not trellis the melons last year, which is something I wanted to do. They grew on the ground, and it was like an egg hunt, a melon hunt, I guess you would say. Every time I tried to go harvest melons, I was like digging through the jungle trying to figure out where they were. So we will probably, Nathan's building me a couple more beds out of scrap tin. I can show you guys. And I don't really have anything in them. One of them, this one right here I'm about to show you, doesn't even have dirt, but I just wanted them just in case I needed them. So here they are. He's got to put wood around the top. And I have another bed that he built just like this, that he filled up with soil, and I don't have anything to plant in it yet, but I figured I would. I just wanted to have options if I needed them. So I may end up putting a couple cattle panels over this and trellis some small melons, and I think it'll be really fun. So let's head to the greenhouse. I feel like every time I walk in here, I need to break out into the song, Welcome to the Jungle. Every time I come in my greenhouse, it is exactly what I think, and it cracks me up. I have started hardening off all my tomatoes, and I let them out the other day, and I have tables built. My father-in-law built me these really awesome tables. I think I might have left them out there too long. It was kind of shady, and it was just really windy because some of mine, I don't know. So all my tomato plants I add lime to because the soil has a lot of peat moss in it. So I try to add things that'll add nitrogen to them. But we're starting to get and these aren't the true leaves, so I'm really not worried about it. But I am starting to see some yellowing, which I can just go in and pull these off. So it's really not that big of a deal. I just want to make sure that the actual true leaves are doing okay. But we have officially started the hardening off process. So if I were to move a couple of these outside, I feel okay about it because they've been outside quite a bit. So I'm feeling good about it. These are, what are these? These are Cherokee purples. Some of them are big. So I started tomato plants on February 9th. And then I started tomato plants every Sunday from the 9th up until probably a few weeks ago. And the reason that I did that is because we are able to grow in a longer period of time due to growing in high tunnels. So I knew some of these big ones that I started on the 9th, which I'll show you, these can go out like immediately. I mean, I could put this tomato out in the ground now. We're clear of our last frost date. We're good. But one, we're still trying to finish the high tunnel. Plastic needs to go on, and we need to build the beds inside, which is not going to be actual raised beds. We'll just build beds out of compost. So these would probably be way too big by the time those things get done. And possibly even these, because this is a decent size, which you would go to the store and buy. So what the reason I did that is some of my smaller ones, which I'm trying to find an example. These down here. These are a bit smaller, as you can see, but by the time we get everything done in the high tunnel and we need to start growing in there, these will be the perfect size. So these, you know, that kind of gives me an idea when I'm shopping too. The varieties that are smaller, I know I'm going to save those. The varieties that are super, super huge is probably going to go to the plant sale, just because the dollar amount in my head that I'm wanting to hit, you know. So I kind of have an idea when I come in here what's off limits, what's not off limits. These are my cucamelons. Somebody tell me that these are going to survive. Every time that I've ever planted cucamelons in the past, they've been just really, really small. They've had just kind of the 2 leaves. They never did anything else. So they died when I transplanted them. And then I decided to direct sow them, and they did nothing. And then I direct sowed them again, and they did nothing. I have no idea, but these things are climbing. It's going to be madness trying to get these undone just to sow them. But I'm confident that this is going to be a cucamelon plant. Then in a few months, I will show you the bounty from. And if not, I'm going to come to you guys in tears and figure out how did I kill that. So I'm hopeful. So let's get started. Let's pick out some tomatoes. Let's pick out some squash and some cucumbers. I separated out a bunch of lettuce the other day too, so I may end up trying to start some more lettuce. I know for sure I want the tromboncino squash, which I need to find that. This is a Costa Romanesco zucchini, I think. It's really pretty. So here's let me flip you guys around and show you my squash and zucchini starts. Look at all of these squash and zucchini plants. Some of them are slightly smaller like these. I need to maybe give some more sun, some more space where they're not crowded. Some Black Beauty. Definitely want that one. This is so much fun, you guys. I really probably should let my kids come out here. That's what a good parent would do. Let them pick what they want to grow. Here's a tromboncino squash. I am so pleased with these. I started these early, just given the whole situation. You know, I wanted to get a head start. But I actually have a whole another tray of these in the house under grow lights. So every time I think I am done separating out tomatoes, I find random tomatoes that I guess stuck in a nook and cranny and didn't separate out. These are Brad's Atomic Grapes, one of my favorite cherry tomatoes, but I'm gonna have to. And then I found some Sun Golds. These actually came from my friend Jessica. I separated out a lot of them, but I guess there were a couple I forgot, so I'll move these over here. I've got a few more of hers too that I still have to separate out. These are Berry's Crazy Cherries. You think that there aren't a lot growing like this. There's a ton. I've separated out a ton of these, and there's still quite a few left. So look, and I found more. These are blue cream berries. So I still have quite a bit of work to do. I'm not worried about that now. I am on a shopping spree in my greenhouse, and that is what I'm going to worry about. So I know for sure I started last year. I did a nasturtium. I only did one variety. Let me put you guys down. I only did one variety, and I put it in a new spot that we didn't amend the soil. It was just a flower bed off of our back deck that, you know, had been on this farm forever. So I'm really wanting to put these nasturtiums in good soil and trellis them. Our goal is, and I don't know if it'll be done by, I say this growing season, we still have quite a bit of the growing season. I'm wanting Nathan to build me an arbor going into our garden, and I was wanting planters on each side, and just the thought of those flowers trellising up just sounds really pretty to me. But this year I started a lot of different varieties. These nasturtiums are one of the #1 sellers for me at plant sales because they're super versatile. I mean, people can grow them on their apartment patio. You know, you don't have to have a garden. You can, they're just super, super versatile. So I started a ton of varieties. This is a King Theodore. I've got, I think a lot of these are King Theodores. This is an orange Trochia. I think this is the one that I grew last year. Look at those leaves, you guys. These are beautiful. So I'm real excited. I will probably only keep a few of these for me, even though I want to keep them all, just because I know that they sell so well. I'd be silly not to sell them. So, and plus I have to figure out too, I separate these things out to go to the sale, but then I have to know everything I take to that sale is not going to sell. So I will bring home things. So I try to give myself the low end, knowing that I will bring things home and have options. So that is something that I try to be mindful of too. But I'm definitely going to go through and pick out at least one of each variety to keep here, because I know in particular these sell really, really well. So I want to keep some of those on our farm. So, oh, and here's a whole thing I haven't separated out of red Alaska shades. Y'all, these things are just ridiculous. I need to separate those out. Story of a farmer. It's never ending, you guys. That's why we drink so much coffee. It's because our job never ends. Okay, let's pick out some tomatoes. All right, here's a black creme. This will be my first year growing black creme, and I'm really excited about it because I've heard really good things from people in my area that it's just a really good tomato. I love this smell. Anybody else go through and smell their tomatoes? So I'll grab a couple of those in a minute. These, I will grab a lot of these. I may just grow. No, am I kidding? I'm not just gonna grow these, but these are the giant Belgiums. These are the biggest red slicers I've ever grown in my entire life. So those are going in my garden. And then these need to go on the ground. Look how they're getting kind of yellow. This is borage. So this is one for the pollinator friends of mine. And then also these attract pests really, really well. So the benefit of that is if I plant them in with my squash and my zucchini or even my tomatoes, the idea would be that the pests would come to this and leave all of my actual food producing crops alone. So oh no. Get organized. Note to self. I planted 2 things of these. So I'll go ahead. I think it's safe to put these out. They're obviously outgrowing the pot that they're in, so I think we're good. I'll move those outside. My squash and zucchini. I also started lavender for the first time today. Not today, for the first time this season. And not a lot of it. I know you're supposed to direct sow this stuff. But I wanted this to go in our little pollinator garden as well. So I'll move that over. Hopefully it's okay to, I'm not really familiar with herbs and things like that. I'm trying, but
Mama,
somebody, yeah, baby.
breakfast is here.
Breakfast is here. Say hey, Charlie.
Hi.
What are you doing?
We're gonna eat. I'm gonna eat hash brown and cinnamon rolls.
Hash brown and cinnamon rolls. Are you gonna help Mommy plant a garden today?
Sure, because come on, we gotta finish dinner.
We gotta finish dinner. Okay.
I mean breakfast.
Breakfast. Okay. I am being summoned. Thanks for shopping my greenhouse with me. I'm excited to get these things in the ground today, and I will keep you guys posted on if it was a smart decision or not to sow things in the ground this early. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Say see you later.
Bye bye.
Bye, you guys.